In the PHP coding standards video, we discussed how we have three options when we're picking a coding standard. The first is that we can create a coding standard from scratch. The second is that we can borrow a coding standard that already exists and use it as is. Finally, we can borrow a coding standard that exists and then add or remove rules that don't fit our team's environment. In this video, we're going to discuss how we can implement the third option by creating our own standard for PHP Code Sniffer using the PSR12 standard as a base and then adding and removing rules. If you missed either our video about the PSR coding standards or the PHP Code Sniffer, you might want to watch them first. We'll include a link in the description. Hello developers and welcome to PHP Developers TV, your home for everything you need to know to be a knowledgeable PHP developer. I'm your host, Scott Keck Warren, creating our own standard file. To get this started, we're going to create an XML file at the root of our project directory. We can either name it after the standard we're going to create or just use phpcs.xml. We're going to be making the PHP Developers TV coding standard. It's based on the PSR12 standard, but includes some helpful sniffs that will make it easier to write our code and catch errors sooner. To start, we're going to create the phpdevstv.xml file and enter the information on the screen. Our standard uses all the sniffs included in the PSR12 standard to get started. To use it, we can either specify the standard as the default, or we can pass it using the -- standard command line script. Now to the fun part, adding rules. Our XML file allows us to specify additional rules inside the file, which can either reference another standard or sniffs. There are two ways that we can add additional sniffs to our coding standard. The first is that we can write our own. We don't recommend this because it's a lot of work. We looked into it and it's a lot of steps and there's a lot of background knowledge required. We're not opposed to creating a video for you to know how to do that, so if you want to see that, let us know in the comments. The other is to find libraries of already developed rules or find some that exist inside of the rules shipped with the PHP Code Sniffer package. Unfortunately, there isn't a good source of lists for rules included in PHP Code Sniffer, so it's best to either find a library with lots of them and build off of that, or Google PHPCS plus whatever rule is needed. We should again point out that rules are enforced by sniffs in PHP Code Sniffer, so that might be helpful in your searches. To start, we're going to add a rule that requires us to have declare strict types equal 1 at the start of our file. For why this is important, check out our video. Always use type declarations for function parameters and return values in PHP. It's a little wordy, but we have included the link in the description. Thankfully, the Code Sniffer project comes with this built in, so we really just need to add the rule to our XML file. Now when we run our standard against our files, we'll see where we need to add the declare strict types equals 1. Now it's time to add in a third-party set of sniffs. We like the Slevomat coding standard library because it includes a lot of sniffs, maybe more than anyone could ever use. To use them, we need to install the library as a composer package to our project. Then, we can add the rules from the library we find the most helpful. As an aside, these are the sniffs that we think should be included in every product. The alphabetically sort use sniffs make sure that all of the use statements are in alphabetical order, which prevents merge conflicts, and the others force us to use types in various places, which cuts down on the potential for bugs. Removing rules. There may come a situation where a team doesn't like all of the rules included in a standard, or the team is attempting to implement a new standard but can't follow all the rules for some historical reason. In these cases, we can just ignore the rule. For example, we might be using underscores in our class names, which is something that the PSR12 standard doesn't support. It's camel case only. Our classes look something like the following. When we run PHP Code Sniffer, we get an error. It's hard to know exactly what sniff is causing this error, so in order to find that, we can run phpcs with the -s command line argument. Now we can ignore that sniff in our standard. And when we run our standard against our code, we'll get no errors. Ideally, we wouldn't be doing this, but sometimes it can't be helped. What you need to know. The PHP Code Sniffer project allows us to create our own standards. We can use existing or third-party sniffs. It's possible to exclude sniffs from an existing standard. As always, thank you for watching our video. Please make sure you subscribe, comment, and like, as it does help others find us. Have you developed your own standard for your project? Let us know in the comments. This is Scott Keck Warren for PHP Developers TV signing off and reminding you to keep coding.